Road to Success is brought to you by Equity Bank.
Equity Bank. You are listening, caring partner.
You're watching Road to Success, the key to your next level in business. You're watching Road to Success, the key to your next level in business. Our guest is Peng Cheng of Easy Taxi.
Hi.
Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Easy Taxi is one of those names everybody talks about because of the kind of services that it provides. What was the inspiration behind Easy Taxi?
So first of all, Easy Taxi is a mobile application that connects drivers and passengers together kind of whenever, wherever. So the product itself was started in Brazil in 2011, but we started it here in Kenya April of last year. And one of the main reasons we started it was because there was such a big issue around having a consistent and reliable means of hailing a cab, right? I think all of my friends, and probably your friends as well, have had issues with it at one time or the other. Easy Taxi tries to solve that by just letting you request a cab anywhere on your phone with just one click of a button.
Chen, how does the application work?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked that because we can do a live demo right now.
Yes.
As they say, the proof is in the pudding. So the first thing you do is you download Easy Taxi for free from your smartphone on any Play Store or App Store. So you open it up right there, and as you can see, it automatically located my position, right? So then you wait until it says Request Taxi. Okay, there we go. Cool. So you just press Request Taxi. It tells you the charges, right? So everybody's on the same page.
Okay.
Right? So 90 shillings per kilometer, minimum charge of 300 shillings. It even has the car hire prices on it, right?
Fast, you say waiting time, fast 30 minutes is free. What does that mean?
So that means, let's say you call a taxi, right? And it gets there super fast and you're not ready, right? So you can wait for you for the first 30 minutes and it'll be free.
Then after that you can start charging me. Okay.
Exactly. Okay, so you just press OK, right? And then you just fill in a few details if you want, right? So let's say here we're on Ngong Road and you want to tell the driver, we're by the Baptist church, right? Because street signs and street names don't always work, right? So this gives you a chance to give some more direction. Here you can choose if you want to pay with money, Easy Taxi Corporate, right, which I was telling you about before, or Easy Taxi Pay, which is your credit card or debit card. Basically, once you've put in your address details, how you want to pay, you just press Continue, right? So now what it does is it searches for taxis around you. So every single one of those dots is an Easy Taxi driver right around us right now.
Wow.
Right? So it's sending out a request, and whichever driver picks it up, see this guy here, Sam Maingi.
Yes.
Right? It has his phone number, his picture will load in a bit, his car model, his license plate, and he then tells you where he is. All right, so you can tell he's actually just right down in Ngong Road.
Wow. And he's actually calling me.
And he's calling me right now.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
That's the best part because you know where he is, right? And sometimes, this is a godsend in places like let's say it's super dark, you can't see any street names, and good luck trying to explain where you are to your taxi driver, right? You can just tell him, follow your GPS, and you'll get him at least pretty close to you, and you can kind of guide him the rest of the way.
And that's how you get your Easy Taxi application on your phone. Very easy. Is this just in Nairobi?
So it's just in Nairobi for now, but we're hoping to expand into at least 2 more cities within the next 60 days.
How many taxi drivers do you have in your pool?
Currently right now we work with over 500 individual drivers, and that's a number that is continuing to grow day by day, right? But hopefully that means that we have the best coverage of drivers in Nairobi. If we actually owned these cars, it would be considered one of the largest fleets, right? But instead we partner with individual drivers. Rather than having our own cars and our own drivers.
How do you get these taxi drivers to be part of the Easy Taxi?
Well, it was definitely difficult at first. I remember when we first started, it was just me and my taxi driver at the time, who became our first employee, actually. So we'd go around to every taxi base in Nairobi, at Prestige, Yaya, Karen, South Beach, South Sea, wherever. and we just pitch it to them and show them the application and say, hey guys, like this is a much safer way, a much quicker way to get clients. Give it a try, you know. And you can imagine there was a lot of hesitation at first.
Why was that?
Right.
What would they say to you?
They're saying, oh, this looks amazing, but I've never seen it before. So it's taken us a couple months to get to the point where now drivers are coming to us, hearing about Easy Taxi from their friends, from fellow drivers. And they say, hey guys, like, how do I join the platform?
And what are the advantages
For a driver?
Yeah, for a driver.
For a taxi driver, the biggest advantage is now you don't have to rely on your consistent customers, right? Because usually drivers just have 4 or 5 customers a day, right, that they pick up. But now anywhere you are in Nairobi, right, you can pick up a request from a passenger, right? And it's a lot safer as well. I mean, there's been a series of kind of incidences with taxi drivers, right? It happens all the time. But with Easy Taxi, at least they can see who the passenger is, right? And so the safety goes both ways. One for the passenger, because you know who the driver is, and then the driver knows who the passenger is, right? So that kind of transparency of information creates a level of trust.
And do you screen the drivers?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's a very, very important part of what we do, you know. So first off, most of our drivers came from recommendations from you know, friends and relatives, right? Once they get in, we ask for their certificates of good conduct, their driver's licenses, insurance, right? And then we do a double check.
Do you have a standard fee that you
We do.
charge
Yes.
across the board, that whether I'm coming from Langata or Karen?
Yeah, it's taken a while for us to get there, but just last month we've implemented a standard pricing per kilometer. So it's about 90 shillings per kilometer with a minimum charge of 300 shillings. So no matter where you are, what time of the day, raining, not raining, traffic, no traffic, it doesn't change.
Okay, besides security, how else does a taxi driver benefit?
Yeah, the fact that he, for example, gets more rides, right? That's the number one benefit.
Yeah.
For most of our drivers, we see that they're making at a minimum about 5,000 to 10,000 shillings extra a month. But for our top drivers, I mean, they're making almost 50 to 100,000 shillings more per month. A month. Just because they're getting more and more rides.
Having built Easy Taxi from scratch, really, that's what you're saying, in Kenya. What have you had to endure to be the number one mobile taxi mobile application?
There's definitely been a lot of challenges, you know. Like I said, in the very beginning, it was getting taxi drivers to understand the concept, to believe in it, right? And to also believe in each other, right? Because this is a service that works off individual drivers, right? Which means that each individual driver has to have similar standards and service levels as every other driver around them, right? If you have a bad experience with Easy Taxi with one driver, that kind of carries through to all drivers, right? So the quality control, training, education was very, very difficult. Secondly, I think in building a team, right? So we started off with 1 employee, and now we have 23, right? Full-time, and freelancers, we have about 15.
Chan, it's important to know that whenever I need a taxi, it's available anytime, wherever I am. It doesn't matter. But we must take a break. But when we come back, we'd like to know how you've been able to stay as the number one taxi mobile application.
Sure.
You're watching Road to Success, the key to your next level in business. Don't go away. Welcome back. You're watching Road to Success, the key to your next level in business. Our guest is Peng Chan of Easy Taxi. Yes. You earlier on had said to us that Easy Taxi started about a year ago. However, it is really the number one taxi mobile application. Why do you think, in your opinion, has been the success to keep you still at the number one?
Yeah, I think a couple things. One, the fact that we can expand quickly with our driver base, that we can be in a lot of places very fast. growing from 0 drivers when we first started to over 500 now. And I think that's a testament to kind of the business proving itself, and also to the drivers, that the drivers have been a community and family of their own, and that's a term that we use a lot. And I think our general meetings are a big way for them to kind of get to know each other and recognize just how much good they do for Nairobi as a whole. And then number 2 is that we do a lot of on-the-ground offline marketing campaigns. So we have a huge team on the ground that hangs out like at all the bars, neighborhood events, just about any big event in Nairobi. We try to be there and make our presence known.
Jan, how have you managed the growth?
I mean, I think manage is the right word to use here, in terms of managing expectations,
Yes.
both, internally for the team, for the investors, for the users, and for the drivers, right? There's a lot of managing. And to be honest, I think that's something that we're still trying to get better at. So for example, I think everybody always wants to say that the product is ready and, you should go and get it, right? And I think we did a little of that too much when we first started, because there's certain neighborhoods that we just don't have the coverage still.
And why would that be?
It's like a balance between supply and demand, right? Our supply kind of being the drivers, right? And the demand being the passengers, right? And you can't have a functioning business without a good equal balance between the two. So in some neighborhoods, we might get, let's say, a Langata, right? We might get like 5 to 10 requests in a week, right? The problem is that's not enough requests for a driver to stay online there and wait there, right? Because he or she will say, why don't I just move to Westlands? And I know there's more business there, right? Which is a totally understandable choice, right? So that's been the difficulty in saying, no, there's enough demand here to keep drivers staying there, or else they'll just migrate and move around to wherever the business is. And if you notice, I said he or she.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you, do you have women in your
We do. We have
pool?
about 7 female drivers right now. And I'd say Easy Taxi has definitely been a huge, huge benefit for them. Props to the women. I mean, I think it's a very difficult job, right? And definitely one with risks, right? So I think with an application like Easy Taxi, it helps make them feel a bit safer.
Being a franchise, there are set standards that you must maintain. How do you maintain them in a different environment like in Kenya? Because I'm sure Brazil is totally different from America or whatever. How do you maintain them in this country?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Easy Taxi is in 33 countries, all right? So one of the things we always talk about is that it's a global app with local execution, right? So there's some kind of like clear standards, more like very high level ones, like you have to have good customer service, right? Your drivers must be educated and trained on using the app. But the way to do that is very, very different from country to country. And
what has been, for you, the biggest lesson that you have learned in the last 1 year you've been in business?
I think the biggest lesson here is that it really takes a team with very local knowledge. I don't think we would have gotten here without our first employee being an actual taxi driver, right? Who understands the challenges that go on every single day, right? I mean, I think they're a pretty unique group of people that can stay up for like a 24-hour shift, right? And the biggest lesson learned is that you have to have people who understand and can communicate with the people you're trying to reach, whether it be the passengers or the drivers, on a very human kind of level, right? It's not about, to be honest, it's not about like making more money like when we pitch it to the driver, right? It's more about like, you're now part of a community, and this is the tool to help you achieve, better business goals. What
about training? Do you train your drivers?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a 2-week onboarding process, in which every day we follow up with the driver. Hey, are you staying online? Do you have any questions? Here's how you should deal with a customer. And then routinely, we have these training sessions at our house, basically. We have an Easy Taxi house. And so the drivers can come through anytime they want, just hang out, drink some chai, talk about their issues with the app, with their lives, with other drivers, whatever it might be, right? So it's a continuous training process that happens.
What about the future for Easy Taxi? Do you intend to grow the franchise to other counties in the country?
Definitely. Well, I think we'll have our first pilot expansion coming up within this month. Going to try to do a little test run in Nakuru, and then if that goes well, we'll see what we learned. And then we can go to Mombasa as well.
Chan, thank you so much for being on our show. It's always nice to know that we can depend on Easy Taxi. 24/7?
Yes.
Anytime, anywhere.
In Nairobi.
In Nairobi for now.
But there will be more
then
cities
of course, you're growing to other cities in the country. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.